Oh,
Hello, everybody. Okay, it is September 23rd. We're here with Della, Piana, and Alex Spielman. I want to talk about, first of all, your video today was awesome on, it was about voting.
Right.
Some things that I really loved that I heard you say, refusing to vote is a legitimate act of civil disobedience. And
I believe that, yep.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people have criticized me for the same thing. They criticized me for not voting, for not participating in our elections. And I also want to quote Jared Beck, who said, you know, somebody asked him about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, about her win. And they're like, don't you consider that a win? And he's like, I don't really know what it means to win in a country that doesn't have real elections, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives everybody the comfy, feely feeling, you know, it gives them the, oh, hey, I did my civic duty. You know, I got my lazy fat butt off the TV, you know, away from the television set, and I went out and voted. But in reality, everybody knows, everybody has got to know since 2016 that our elections are a sham. And if they haven't figured that out by now, I don't know what will make them understand that. It's just they do whatever they want no matter what we do.
Yeah. And I think if we were, you know, I feel like I drew a line, like I stepped out of the system and I drew a line and I said, I'm not crossing back over this line until things that I see that are wrong are fixed. And,
Right.
you know, we're waiting on politicians to do that, and it's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They like this. You know, look, let's look at things realistically. I'm a registered Green Party person, okay? But let's face some facts. It doesn't matter whether it's the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, or if we come up with the People's, whatever it is that they're trying to start, or the Independent, whatever it is that they're trying to start. Here's the problem. All of these third parties, and the Greens do not take corporate money, all right? That's why they can't compete, all right? So all of these third parties have to force themselves to work within a corrupt system in order to even participate in the process. So it basically negates their effectiveness to make change. You know, it's a better choice if you feel as though you have to vote.
Yeah.
But you know what? There is only one solution to this problem, and that is just overturning this system. It's as simple as that. And somebody said to me, well, what happens, you know, they'll be armed and there might be a fight. I go, yeah, there might be a fight. There might.
Yeah.
You know, there could very well fucking be a fight, okay? And at some point we have to draw a line in the sand and say, guess what? It is not going to get any better by not fighting. So we need to do something somewhere. You know, it's crazy.
Hey, Deb.
Let's talk about, I've heard people, I've supported you, and I've supported Become Ungovernable Truth, your new website. I'll make sure when I upload this that I'll put your information below so they can see what you're doing. Because a big part of what I do with meme news and, you know, DNC fraud is I want to help, you know, voices like you that are voices of dissent, voices that, you know, inspire people to speak up for themselves. People that feel they don't need a politician to speak for them, you know, or don't want a politician to speak for them, you know. So I've used the hashtag Become Ungovernable a lot, and I tell people from my perspective and from what I've learned about how you use the term, it means representing yourself, it means speaking up. Now would be a good time for you to explain exactly what it means to become ungovernable in your
Okay. So from my perspective, quite frankly, I came up with the idea for the name based on an article that Chris Hedges wrote in Truthdig. And it was about how the only way we were going to be able to save ourselves was the American people need to become ungovernable. That's basically what he said. And he was not saying, you know, utter violence, okay? What he was saying is continual nonviolent civil disobedience. For example, nobody talks about Yemen, but an anti-war group actually used school buses to block access to a weapons facility to protest the war in Yemen. And you know what? It's that kind of stuff. over and over and over again, unending, that will we have to at least strike a little fear into these people. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're basically, every time we do something and it ends up with a pink pussy hat on it, they're basically popping popcorn and drinking beers and watching us. We need to really get unruly. I mean, it's kind of like we either sink or we swim. And whether we like this or not, the longer we wait to do something, the more chance there is for violence. We have let this go a long time, and because this was such a well-planned thing, it went so slowly over so many years and over such time that nobody even really noticed we were becoming a corporate state. But actually, that was completed under Barack Obama. Okay, we have the military portion of the program, in my opinion, being taken care of under the Trump regime. So, all of this is theater of the absurd, because for anyone to think there's a difference, there isn't. And becoming ungovernable means, you know what, you just don't buy into this system anymore. Okay? Yeah. Every time you go out there and cast a goddamn vote, you're saying to these people, please come on in here and screw me over again. You are basically setting yourself up for failure. You are saying to these people, I'm okay with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's no such thing as waiting for the Democrats to get in and expecting them to fix it. They are the other half of the problem.
Yeah.
They need to go away.
One thing that I get a lot of back and forth of people that they don't support the DNC fraud because they feel like they put effort into reforming the DNC, and we have to show them that their efforts are in vain. Their efforts are not being effective. Their efforts are not. You don't reform terrorism. You stop it. You oppose it. You stand on the outside of it. And Bernie tricked me in 2016. He fooled me good, and he fooled a lot of people. And I think it's just vital right now that we get as many voices in front of the camera as possible, whether they're protesting locally or whether they're just, giving their opinion about something from the mainstream media. Like, I feel like one of the ways to inspire a real revolution is to convince people that their voice is important enough for them to use it, because they're just not using their voice, and then those that do use their voice, they kind of fall into this like slumber and give it to their favorite politician, the one that it's a fabricated truth. The DNC and the mainstream media, there is collusion there, proven collusion.
Absolutely.
Not just blatant, listening to what they're reporting, but there's actual proof showing collusion. There is no more denying it. The issue is, I think one of the issue is that the masses are uneducated, obviously, about what's going on. And I think that we need to unite with as many voices like you and I and Alex and everybody, and pull all of our resources together and I don't know, make something happen, I know you protested a lot, but I mean, you know
what? I mean, you can listen. Let's call it a tea party, in my opinion. I mean, when you get 7 people in front of something, that's not come on, that's not even a ripple.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, like I'm trying to do this Michelle Obama thing, and she really pisses me off. I just have to say.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get people out there in front of TD Garden on November 24th, because not only did her and husband get $65 million freaking advance on their 2 books, but so she's selling tickets. I think the top ticket in Boston is like $4,500 fucking dollars. Are you fucking serious? Okay, listen to me.
Yeah.
And there are idiots paying this, because I went on her thread, and even if they're not plants, if they're either way, seriously, to even dream of charging that is absurd. We have the TD Garden in Boston is almost like 19,500 seats. Imagine how much money they are just sucking in on the utter stupidity of the American people.
Yeah.
Like what? Does Michelle Obama feel our pain? I don't think so.
I was watching a show called Nashville, and I was like watching. It was a really good show, and then I saw a video of Michelle Obama in there, and I'm like, fuck,
No, seriously, there's
I'm
no
like,
escaping
I
it.
really like the show, and I like when I see something like that, or I see a little bit of propaganda, or a little bit of like, you know, promotion of these
Right.
bad people.
Right.
You know, and
Well,
I'm like,
here's what we have to accept for the moment, okay? This is the way I couch my brain, all right? And this is what we have to accept. We know our media is owned, okay?
yeah.
There are things that are worth watching, and there is no getting away from the fact that there is really no independent media anymore in America, okay?
Yeah.
So
it's called Operation Mockingbird.
Yep, it certainly is. But you know what I'm saying is it's been going on for a long time, and we could completely shut ourselves out. But I would not advocate that. We have to be smart enough as a nation to navigate that pathway so that we don't cut ourselves completely off. Because we also need to know just exactly what the hell's going on. So people ask me why I get emails from the Daily Caller and, you know, Fox 25. And I want to know what everybody's freaking doing. I'm going to get everything from everywhere, and I am going to listen to as much shit in a day as I can. Because I need to know where the democologists are going. I need to know where the right-wingers are going. They're all a bunch of whack jobs. There's not one damn soul in Washington that's worth salvaging. I don't care. You know, they all got to go.
How will we do this, by the way?
How would we?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not quite sure where this is going to go. I know where it's going right now is not the right direction, you know? Like,
so here's what I think. You want to think about voting all these people out. Do you know how many decades that will take?
Yeah.
In this environment, first of all, we have to identify legitimate candidates. Okay, we have a bunch of fraudsters on the horizon right now. So this is my thought process. This is a long-term commitment battle. Right? This is a multi-pronged approach. So the first approach we have to take is to start. I'm not talking about right off the bat we get pitchforks and torches and overthrow the government. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, yeah.
What I'm talking about is we really need to do something. Yeah. And I tell you this, if we can just make them a little bit nervous and afraid, then our position becomes stronger. And it only happens when we show them that not only are we awake, but we're willing to put ourselves out there and do something. Because if we're not willing to do that, then this is bullshit. Live streaming is bullshit. Posting on Facebook is bullshit unless you actually back it up by getting on the street. It's as simple as that. And I'm not talking about permits and no other shit like that. It is time now, okay? I mean, we don't have much time left here. So the question is, who do you want left to take over? Them or us? I really do think we're going to fall no matter what we do. We're that far along.
Yeah.
But someone's going to be ready to take this mother over, and it better be us.
I honestly think that this is a major re-education project. It is. By the time we re-educate people, it's going to be too late, and I understand that. But we're just at the beginning. People are just, this whole thing about we're awake. We're not really awake.
Yeah.
No, we're really not. Some of us are awake.
And the fact, you're absolutely right. Just vote. Let's say there is an actual honest-to-God candidate out there, and you vote for them. You are reinvesting in the system again.
Right.
Which has been screwed for forever.
Right.
So, we do have to rethink, and anytime anyone thinks like this, and you're right, 4 or 5 people talking on live stream is nothing. We have to get thousands of people, and the second you get thousands and hundreds of thousands, where do those hundreds of thousands of people come from? All of a sudden, it's Soros funded. It's Soros funded, and
right.
you know full well that Cindy Sheehan isn't
Soros funded. Exactly.
But the second you may even get some momentum, people are like, "Oh, wait a minute, where's this coming from? It has to have a lot of money."
Right.
We have to do this very slowly and just re-educate people.
My thing is, I don't think it's going to be quick. I don't
No,
think
it's not.
Oh, it is
I
never
don't,
going to
but
be
I'm
true.
saying I don't think it's in jeopardy of getting too big too quick where people would jump to that conclusion. Now, they're going to say that regardless because there are so many Democrat protests that are, I mean, these protests that are like immigration and all that,
Yeah.
they're, sponsored and acted out by people of the DOJ. Like,
Sarah, look at how much money the Koch brothers had, and it took them 40 years to build their infrastructure.
Right.
40 years.
Right.
So how long do you think it's going to take us to do it?
So
By the
here's
time
the
it
other thing.
happens,
I think
we'll
you're
be
right,
gone.
Dave.
I
'cause
don't think we should worry about how long it's going to take us. I think we should start, putting together ideas of what we're going to do.
So
What if I could?
Because here's the deal. We can work on all of this stuff while we're becoming ungovernable. Okay,
Right.
we can move things along here, by doing something different. But I wanted to say something about what Dave said, because I was floating around the web last night because I have insomnia, and I'm out
Don't we
there.
all? I think every one of us does.
I really didn't want to get out there on Facebook and start a discussion, so I started tooling around, and all of a sudden I see this March for Black Women. So all of a sudden I start digging, like who's behind this thing, right? So it's like I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, here I go now.
Maxine Waters.
I'm trying to figure this out. Like it's insanity, I'm going, what the hell is this thing? I never heard about this thing. What's going on with this?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking. And so far, I haven't found any connection with anything other than it. So I'm thinking to myself, wow.
Yeah. My thing is, we have to have patience. That's all I'm saying with it being slow. We have to have patience.
I agree.
And not give up. That's
Right.
it.
Right,
One thing I want to say is that you mentioned, being on the live stream does nothing. I think that being on a live stream has its potential of helping our movement. Not just all of us talking together, but
Yeah.
I know what you meant by it. I am on the
Like
same
if
page.
that's all we do, that's not going to help us. We need
Right.
to do both things.
But I wanted to point out, you said that it's good to get the message out and let people know who's funding it, who's hosting it, who's putting it together, and videos are the only real way that
to do that.
indisputable, truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if I go do a solo protest, because I live in a news town, so I don't know anybody out here. So if I'm protesting, it's usually alone. So, what I'll do is I'll take photos before. I'll, take photos and make a post saying what I'm going to get together to do the protest. What work went into it. What I'm doing, where I'm going, and then I'll live stream it. And it's just, I think we really need to focus on creating media and showing other people how to create media, showing themselves becoming ungovernable, whether it's DNC fraud or whether it's a Julian Assange rally or whether it's, the general strike or whatever. You need to have a goal, and you can either join other people or do it yourself, but I think creating media is really important, because I can create memes all day long, but the videos are what really, get to people.
Well,
I agree.
I
think you're absolutely right.
Deb was right on point.
And I think people think I live stream all the time, but I don't. I actually make my videos.
We need to share our information sources. Danielle St. John asked, well, who do you listen to? And a lot of people like Tim Black and this one and that one and, whatever. Deb posted this just litany and list of Al Jazeera and, disobedient media and actual news sources. It's not about the personalities. It's about the information.
Right.
And we need to start sharing legitimate sources.
Right.
WikiLeaks isn't the only one. I mean, obviously, it's a powerful source.
Well, I know on Deb's website, she has a section of her page that's dedicated to all the media that she looks at, or at least most of them. And
that's what she shared.
And with Meme News, I don't know how much you know about Meme News, but I try and get a good collection of independent media, their work. It's not about my narrative. It's about just whatever is out there, and I try and lift up independent voices. So in the future, I mean, we might even be on a TV segment on Pluto TV. I'm
Right.
not counting my eggs, my chickens before they hatch, but
Gesundheit.
We'll do that on the air, okay? It's
I-
here's what I think. I need to. That thing has to be updated continually. That's one of the things about that I really want to do with that. So I am actually going to add a section that will include you and my blog and all of that. So I'm gonna call that citizen journalism, and I'm gonna put people there as well. So that's my next update for that section. Right now I'm enmeshed in Pizzagate, so I was going to go back to that. I was going to go back to that last night, but then I said to myself, you know what? I really need to actually go on and update the strike site to make it the obstruct the midterm site now, because that's what that whole purpose is. So I got to really update that first. So again, I have like a million things I need to do, and I'm still unpacking boxes, and I really hate that damn process, I have to tell you.
But you know what? Wikipedia said that Pizzagate's been debunked, so you guys can...
Right, I know. I feel so much better now. I know.
You know who they said did it?
What?
You know who they said is their source for debunking it?
Who's that?
No.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones was talking about it, and he personally apologized to Alefantis.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
But I honestly,
Pizzagate
when you
is
think
so
about it, I
much
think this.
Honestly,
I think a lot of these things. I think we're making this more complicated than it actually is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are exactly the same as us, but the thing is that we have all these dividers on us. I mean,
no,
we like to divide ourselves with political ideology or by race or creed or anything like that. But at the very end, all of us want the same thing: to be able to live a life that is unbridled by any outside forces.
And that's part of the re-education too. That's part of the re-education. To stop being hung up by the little minutia. I mean, I might not agree with Deb or Sarah or you on every single thing, but there are certain things that we can agree on, that we want to be free and we want to be able to live and eat unpolluted food and water. And, there's certain basic human rights that we can say, this is what we're going after.
Right. And I also believe
welcome to the cabal.
I think that
it is. It is.
I think there's certain things that should be taken out of the political equation.
Right.
I just think there are some things that, for example, from my perspective as a gay person, the notion that anyone should have a right to vote on who I can and cannot marry is an absurdity. So I think there are certain things that we need to stop. Healthcare. I think there are things that need to stop. We need to stop making political footballs because, there is no way that every 4 years everybody should have to sweat bullets over whether they can take care of themselves. And I think it's absurd that those things become political footballs, whereas war becomes no issue at all. We seem to have so much money for that bullshit.
I mean, war is kind of complicated, especially with the international treaties. A lot of the reason why the United States budget is so high the way it is because we finance most of the other international communities because of treaties through the UN, NATO, and others. And really, if we really wanted to, we could cut our budget by easily 75% if we pulled our funding from all these other countries. Hey, Finland, stop trying to protect yourself. Hey, UK, protect yourself. Germany, protect yourself. Boom, there you go. $75 billion fund.
We could also do to stop spending money. We can get the fuck out of some of the places where we are that we don't belong. We don't need 60 bases in South Korea. 60 bases in South Korea. Get out of Korea. You know what? We ruined that country along with the USSR. So, it's time for us to shut down some stuff as well. We don't need, we don't need all of this coverage. We do this for a reason. It's because we are imperial warmongers, and it's as simple as that.
We're globalists.
That's a little bit. I would consider that a little bit of an obscene kind of very factually inaccurate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that.
All right.
Because, honest to God, I don't understand why we need, why we need to have so many military bases in so many places if we're not just trying to screw people over. That's all we really freaking do. We go in there and we destroy and decimate their land. We steal their resources, and then we bitch because there are so many migrants trying to get into a country that actually created their problem. So I will not be dissuaded from this position. I can promise you that.
Well, I mean, unless you live in a sanctuary county and you understand that they're making an infrastructure so that they overtake the populace. I'm paying my tax dollars in order for them to be funded for their food, their education, and their health care.
Oh.
What?
Me.
That's two different issues, though.
No, it's not, because we're talking about migrants. Migrants are coming in, and we're paying.
Coming in because their countries are unlivable. They cannot be lived in anymore. Take a look at Libya. Take a look at Syria. Take a look at.
What do they have in common?
What do they have in common? The United
States.
Besides war.
Besides war.
The United States and Israel. That's what they have in common.
I'm thinking something else.
Like what?
Human trafficking?
Oh, wait a minute. I agree with that. You know what? I don't say that human trafficking doesn't happen as a result of those things. And I don't say that human trafficking isn't part of the equation. But no matter what the issue is, whether it is we want their resources, all of a sudden, we had to go back into Afghanistan. Let's use that. Okay. We had to go back and bump up the troops. We had to go back and make an investment. What did the United States do? Oh, we're going to start extracting minerals to help defray the cost of the fucking war. Oh, no shit.
Well, we also have all the opium coming from there, too.
Oh, please.
Okay.
No. We're going to do that just about everywhere, because you want to know why? Because we are addicted to fossil fuels, and we are addicted to being the American exceptionalism rappers. That's what we really are. And you know what? Guess what? Our fight for freedom has been no different than anyone else's. We've all shed the blood. But when you are doing shit to people like that and they need somewhere to go, for you to complain about what percentage of people you're taking in when you are creating that mess, shame on you, no matter what the reason really is.
Okay,
well,
so
let's talk about before our time runs out. Let's talk about obstruct the midterms. And,
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, and the DNC fraud protest is on the 20th of October. So I definitely want to have the opportunity to use that event to combine with you to support obstruct the midterms, because there's no reason not to, So what is your main idea with obstruct the midterms? Do you have any?
Okay, you know what? I'm trying to look at this from a multi-pronged approach again, okay? I know realistically there are going to be people who are going to vote no matter what they do, right? No matter what I do, no matter what I say, all right? So if you have to vote, if you really must vote, you can either vote for a Green Party member if there's one on the ballot, if you are a Democrat, or vote for a Libertarian if there's one on the ballot, if you're a Republican. Or you can do what my daughter does. And when it comes to, she writes the down tickets, votes the down tickets sometimes, if they're green, but then she'll write in Mickey Mouse somewhere. But what we need to not do is legitimize this system anymore and legitimize the corruption, because as soon as you cast a vote for a Republican or a Democrat, you are basically saying, we're good with this system that, of course, was a huge problem in 2016 across the board, right? In 2016, the big problem for people was money in politics. In 2018, the big problem for people is Agent Orange, Donald Trump. And the focus has changed. Now the diehards don't mind taking money from the big banks because, we have to get rid of Trump. And they don't mind that the Democrats rolled back their ban on taking money from fossil fuel companies because, hell, we have to beat Donald Trump so we can compromise ourselves. But you know what? It's not okay, because you are basically just saying to them, be as corrupt as you want. We just need to win.
So, Deb, I want to add one thing too. If you want to vote for a green or a libertarian or an independent, that's fine. But at the same time, you have to research these candidates, because you don't want a situation where you just vote for a Nathan Listen piece of shit, and this guy gets in and goes, "Oh, we can't have this." I mean, these guys are shoved in, you know, and it'll delegitimize any kind of movement to get independence.
Right. So my basic stance is, if that's what you're going to do, don't vote.
Right.
You don't even bother to vote. You know, I hear people deciding who to vote for based on somebody saying something in an interview. Is that what you? I don't know. You know, but I'll tell you what. After listening to that interview, she's got my vote. That's what they're doing with Tulsi Gabbard all of a sudden. I'm going, really? Maybe you ought to look her up just a tad. You know, just check it out.
Check out their voting record if they've been around.
Yeah. Like, I didn't look at Bernie's voting record until after the election, and then I was like, oh, okay, because I noticed that the pattern that the only times he really didn't vote with the DNC, with the other major leaders, is when he didn't vote at all. That's his MO, I think, is not voting on things that are controversial, that he doesn't want to, you know. Bernie's not really, he's not a revolutionary in any sense of the form. You know?
Well, he's more of a Leninist, if you think about it.
Well, you notice before the election, the way the media played it, they played it where Clinton and him were on the same team. And I know that some his followers probably don't see it that way, but that's really how it was. They're on the same team, and he was the lesser, you know, the lesser Democrat.
Right.
And Clinton, and that's how, and he knows how it works. He's been in politics for a while. He knows that they're selected. He knows that these people are selected, and you have to earn your place in the party. And so that's why nothing's going to change, because Bernie is the status quo, and that's the reality.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate on the voting thing, because I'm actually going to be voting for 3 parties in the midterms.
Okay.
I'm voting for a Republican in the House. I'm voting for a Libertarian in the Senate, and I'm going to be voting independent down the rest of them. Well, because my senator is a Democrat, you know, Bob Menendez. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to vote for Bob Hugin, who's a Republican, because he's a rhino. I'm voting for a Libertarian in that aspect to get because we want to get rid of the state influence, because state means money out of our pockets so that they can do all these horrible things. Mm-hmm. I'm voting for a Republican in the House because he has fantastic policies. Now, I think this is the one thing that we can all agree on. Look at a person's policies. What are they going to do? How are they going to do these things? And if you just vote a person because, oh, I like this person because of a speech, that's a very bad answer. That's stupid. And then independent on the rest of them because, well, the rest of them are nonpartisan.
So let me just say one thing. Here's my problem with all of that, and this is from my perspective, okay? I don't expect everybody to take this view. My perspective in all of this is I won't do that, okay? I'm just not. My perspective in this is that as regardless of who these individuals are and what their policies are, they are laboring within a system that literally takes millions of dollars from Wall Street, the banks, and the billionaires, all right? And I don't give a damn what you think and what you do, but that whole system needs to go. And that is the absolute depth of our problem right there, that everybody is bought and sold. Look, come on, we had all of these people espousing all of this bullshit until they won their primaries, they were in the Democratic Party fold, and boom, they're changing their positions, and it happens all the time. You are talking about voting for the parties, not the people. End of story, whether they're independent or not. You know what? No one's independent in a system that is funded by entities that want their quid pro quo. And none of these guys give anybody any money for any other reason. So I'm just not going to do it.
Go ahead.
I think the one last thing, just to counter that real quickly, is you talk about the millionaires, billionaires, and stuff like that. how did they get their money first in the first place? They get it from government favors. So what we have to do, we got to reduce government influence in the first place.
We have to reduce billionaires donating to campaigns. We have to take that away. We have to take away corporations. They need to not put any money into anything. Come on, let's hear about this, okay? Let's talk about this. The Human Rights Campaign awards Mr. Asshole there, Jeff Bezos, as a great guy to work for if you're a lesbian and a gay person. But that bastard pays no taxes. Sorry, folks. It just doesn't work that way. Because no matter whether you're gay or not, you suffer too. It's got to stop.
That is textbook cronyism.
Right? And what I'm saying is, it's rampant in the system. Let's talk about
Tom Steyer.
Let's talk about Tom Steyer, who wants to impeach Donald Trump. And he's spending his billions and billions of dollars trying to get that done. That bastard is basically buying his way into running. And you know what? It all needs to go away. All of it. It needs to be not in the process.
So
we need to go back to a constitutionalist system.
Well, let me say something real quick. One of the things that I realize is that in order to change, I have to acknowledge the mistakes I've made, and specifically the most recent mistake I made, which the last person that I voted for in the system was Christine Pellegrino, and she's who I call a Ruffalonian. Mark Ruffalo backed her. The second you see Mark Ruffalo backing anybody, it's like, she's a teacher and she's a mother. It doesn't matter.
We're all mothers as far as I'm concerned.
We're all mothers. We're all mothers. Hold on one second. My cat is crying.
Hey, Adrian. Welcome, Adrian.
Hey, sir.
We're talking about obstructing the midterms, or we're trying to.
Sorry, I'm playing devil's advocate this entire time.
Okay,
Alex
is going to be joining us for the protests out here in October, and I want to know how we can help you. Like, what are you thinking for obstruct the midterms? Because it's going to need to be more than one event. You know, it's going to need to be a long-term solution, something that we can do repeatedly, again and again and again until
obstruct the midterms is going to turn into obstruct the general election, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean,
we need to rally people to support us to do the same thing that we're doing. You know, just putting themselves on the line. We need people. We need body count. So we need to start doing videos asking for volunteers. Have you tried that before? I mean, I'm sure
I have actually tried that, and I think when I started doing that, it was a while ago, and I think there are, like, for example, trying to get people out there, you know, on November 24th for the Michelle Obama thing, where she's coming to fleece people, basically, right? So, you know, I had people basically say, you know what, I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. I'll do it with you, you know? So I think that's a good thing. So maybe we're making some kind of progress there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't, you know, 4 years ago, I was, you know, making jewelry in my laundry room, you know, like I never imagined that I would be hosting something against one of the major corrupt parties. So if there's hope for me, you know, the jewelry maker, then there's hope for any of us. And I think that one idea we need to push is that each of us have our own talents. Each of us have our own skills, and we need to hone in on our own skills to figure out a way that we can speak out, because not everyone is going to like video, you know, live streaming. Not everybody's going to like making memes. Not everybody's going to like, I think it's important to inspire people to find their own path and see how they can help movements like the Unity for J movement, you know, working together. I thought Discord was going to be, you know, a way for that to come together, but I don't think people are ready, you know.
Discord's a good planning. It's a good planning.
It's good for smaller. It's good for us, you know. It's good for the smaller community, so we can work together and share stuff. But I don't think it would work on a massive scale.
Chans are a fantastic way of doing these things.
Not really.
The Chans.
See, I don't know. I don't really get on those.
They're not very user-friendly, but they are very good at crowdsourcing.
Okay.
You have people there who literally can get, like, where did the wind blow in this photo?
Right.
That's how good some of these people are. And that, it sounds like such a ridiculous thing, but it's those trivial things that they love. And that's why when I'm there, I'm always terrified to do something because I don't want to be on the wrong side of these people. I'm like, okay, the wind is blowing west. That means he must be in this latitude and this longitude. And so now we're going to be able,
where they can like locate things. Yeah.
Now we're going to throw this paper airplane, throw it, and the wind through the Gulf Stream is going to bring that paper to that location at effectively 5 o'clock in 10 minutes. So, but that's the thing. It's Badlands.
Yeah.
Focus a little. The midterms. Let's focus this conversation.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's okay. So the midterms, we need to. I would be for making a list of all the cities and all the polling places and start assigning people to protest and make sure we send out guidelines of tips. I'm sure that there's some type of distance you'd have to be from the polling. We have to look into that.
Yeah,
I think New Jersey is you have to be about 100 feet away from a polling station.
Right. Most of if I look at my own town of Stoneham, what happens is the people with the signs are across the street, and there's actually a barrier. You know what I mean? Yeah. They put up a rope. So it should be pretty clear, I would guess. I think most cities would do that. Of course, it didn't really matter with Bill Clinton because he was with the mayor.
He just walked into a freaking polling station.
Polling station.
What do you want from my wife?
That's a felony right there.
It absolutely is. It absolutely.
But you know what?
No, wait. No, it's only bad when Republicans do it. Remember.
Right. He was with the mayor. He was with the mayor. He was with Marty Walsh.
Right.
So, he got, it was all right. He was sanctioned, So,
I think it would be important that we all have the exact same message and show it in as many different major cities as we can before the elections.
Yep.
I have 2 major cities near me.
Yeah, I don't even think that we should wait until October 20th. I think I have my parents-in-law coming in town, but they know what I do, so they have to be like,
I need to hide.
I gotta
it's
go.
It's nice to have people close to you that you can explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it, because everybody's just so hung up on everything I hear on CNN. They're just like, you're just like
fake news CNN.
Is that
really?
CNN, MSNBC.
Oh, they all have a freaking Dropbox at 4 o'clock. That's why you go to every one of these different news sources. They have the exact same talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So when we're going to start this, should we have a possible counter? Because I know this is going to happen. For the message that we're just bitter Greens because we can't win anything, or we're just bitter Independents, or Sarah was banished from this interview, so she's just sour grapes. Sour grapes nonsense. Do we have a counter for that, or should we just say, look, this is our message?
I'd say as long as we have a voice, we have a counter, and I don't think we should worry too much about what they could say or what they're going to say, because they're going to do it, and the bigger that we get and the larger we have. My thing is, the reason I started DNC Fraud is because the protest, because I know from what I've learned so far that the corruption is real. It's not going away.
Nope.
I was a part of trying to reform the DNC, and I saw that that's not possible. And I believe with every fiber in my being that after a massive education of the United States about the crimes of the parties, not just the DNC, but the RNC too, I think we need to be hyper-focused, knock out the DNC, and by knockout, I mean expose them, tell their supporters what they're doing, because ultimately we don't have to get millions and millions and millions of people together at first. We need to just put the information out there, put ourselves out there, get on the street, inspire other people to do the same thing, and start educating people town by town by town, and uniting under a common goal to go after the corruption. And people criticize me and they say, well, why isn't it an RNC protest too? And like, well, I don't support the RNC,
that's a cool cat.
That is a cool cat.
Yes.
And going after the DNC does not legitimize the RNC. The GOP does not. And people think it does. And that's how the DNC is keeping their power over people because of fear. And their supporters are not educated. So that's what this whole, DNC fraud is. I show up to DNC events. I show up to women's marches. I show up to canvassing. I was thinking about, this is something that other people can do locally too, is showing up to their canvassing. Because if you go on Craigslist, if you look up on Google and look up the Democrat events, they're canvassing and they're paying people $17 an hour to canvass every major city.
Right.
So
how can they afford this?
People are saying, oh, the DNC is dead. No. The DNC is not dead. They are broker than they've ever been, but they're not dead. And that money will continue to flow until we stop them.
One more suggestion. One more suggestion, because somebody just texted me. If you have a canvas, or if you have somebody who actually texts you and says, hey, vote for this candidate, or what can this candidate do for you? Start a conversation with that person.
Right. I did.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I did a live, or I did a video on the one that I just did for Gretchen Liuba Shirley. The lady's very nice, but I'm like, I love that. That was popcorn material. Listen, this is just a symbiotic, a diseased symbiotic relationship between the Dems and Republicans.
Right.
And I was like, you can't say you're for money out of politics when you're being funded by being funded by Emily's List and the Gates Foundation. She's like,
right.
Thanks so much. And like, what is your counter for that? There was no counter.
Right. Yeah. So so this is what they do. This is how the Democrats set you up on that one. Do you notice Bernie's on a Jeff Bezos Amazon tear lately?
Yeah.
That's what they do. Like, and then later on down the road, they'll ask him to pull out that single payer thing and blow the 3 inches of fucking dust off it. Right. And he'll wave that around for a few weeks, and then
Citizens United.
Yeah. And this is what he does, He comes out, he's the ultimate freaking sheepdog. He's beautiful at it. And there are people out there still basking in the Bernie glow. And it's fucking scary.
Well, my question is, Citizens United to me has already done its damage. So now all of a sudden the Democratic Party, we're going to take care of Citizens United and get it out of here.
They've been saying that for how long?
Yeah, but if they actually do, it won't.
They send you a petition, and an online petition, you sign it, and then it goes into the delete bucket. It goes into the bucket. I got one from Tulsi Gabbard. I got one from Bernie Sanders. I got one from Elizabeth Warren. You sign them. I keep copies of them. I must have had 200 one year. Where the fuck are they all going? They're all they're on Hillary Clinton's unobstructed. They're on her freaking server in the
They're tracking you. Oh, yeah, Sarah, I got to tell you something. I have that. All of these people that I've met have all contributed something, to my knowledge base. And Sarah, thank you so much, because I've been doing the little research that I've done so far in the whole DNC and Seth Rich and Sean Lucas thing. I realized something. This corruption is not about the top players. You got PR people, and you got lawyers, and you got people in the middle. Those are the dirty sons of bitches. Those are the ones that you have to uproot, and you have to make people aware of.
It's all the way from the very top, the tippy top, to the very bottom.
The guys at the top are directing them, and they're doing the deal,
And the local, the times that I've confronted local Democrats, whether on the phone, like sometimes I'll call up just like random places across the country, just Democratic headquarters, and I'll ask them questions and record it. And they have no accountability for their party, none. They feel and they act as if they'll get information from the DNC, it'll filter down to them, their orders, and
Right.
then they'll put their platform, they'll use the Democratic Party to promote their own job, and then when you ask them, hey, so explain to me DNC fraud, what do you know about how, the election, the rigging, what do you know about the DNC corruption? And they're like, oh, well, that's a whole other thing. They're like,
Right, exactly.
they're their own other company. I'm like, actually, no, you're legitimizing them.
Right.
No.
You guys watched
Wikipedia they debunked that a long time. No.
Do you guys ever watch Project Veritas?
Yes.
Yes.
And we talk. What their current theme is this last few weeks?
What?
The deep state.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Now, what they're doing is they're interviewing people and through investigative journalism in the different branches. So they talk to one person in the DOJ, another person in the I forgot which one. They're different people within the actual federal government. Now, one thing that all these people are saying is, "Hey, I cannot be fired because I'm a federal worker." Well,
Right.
here's the thing. These people can be fired, and actually they're doing illegal things. Most of these people are actually breaking something called the Hatch Act,
Yeah.
where they're doing partisan things, and their office is supposed to be nonpartisan. Now, I know, outsider, you probably know about the Hatch Act when it comes to postal workers.
Yeah, I talk a lot about it.
And there's a difference between people being hatched and not being able to do something, and then there's people who are blatantly breaking that law and not getting in trouble for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. That was the whole point of that act, was that they can't muddy the waters, but they are. So anyways, this is what Project Veritas has been doing. They've been interviewing these people, and they're like, we're not the source. They are. They're saying this by themselves, verbatim.
Right.
And nowadays, I think they're actually referring them to their appropriate offices so they can actually they can actually deal with them. I don't know if that's going to do anything, but I mean, that's at least a step in the right direction.
The Hatch Act is a completely different subject, and I'll talk about that. That would be another hour.
Hey,
Yeah,
actually,
it would be.
It's a very frustrating thing.
Zoom popped up a little message saying that today we get free unlimited, so we have as long as we want.
Okay.
Awesome.
They're tracking us. They're seeing how outrageous we can get.
Hey,
Hey Zoom, thanks. I'm still paying, you son of bitches. I guess I should drop out.
well, I don't think it's every time. I don't know.
No,
maybe it's
I know.
bonus.
They're trying to hook you. They're trying to get you to sign up for the
Right.
month,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, I got money, so they're shit out of luck.
But I think it's kind of interesting because when it comes to all these different things, we are all coming at it from totally different angles.
Yep.
But I've noticed that we've kind of hit the same consensus in most cases, that things are really bad. Unless we do something about it, then nothing will ever get done.
Right.
And I know that I'm probably going to be a thorn in everyone's ass all the time. I just happen to be one of these people.
We can deal with that.
Well,
And that's why I love you, Deb.
I'm a thorn in a lot of people's asses. That's good.
Susie Dawson has a very good point when it comes to organizing. You organize over one unifying thought, message, and goal, and one thing at a time. What you're talking about is obstructing the elections. They're really gonna fight it because this is their Super Bowl. This is their Super Bowl.
Yeah, they'll fight it. I get that. I get that I'm doing the impossible here, but I got to make some kind of noise somewhere.
You guys hear about that?
I'm done with this. Really.
Did you guys hear about that poll? Did you hear about that one election in Texas where it actually flipped after 138 years?
Oh, I didn't.
Which election?
It was a special election. Like somebody resigned and they had to fill the slot up. But
what did it flip from to?
It flipped from Democrat to Republican.
I did hear something. That's what I wanted to find out, but I didn't really read the piece. I just saw the headline, and I think I saved it, but I haven't looked at it.
Well, the reason why the reason why they're saying this is because Texas recently instituted a voter ID law.
Right.
So now you don't have so before in Texas, you actually were not allowed to vote as long as you had some form of ID. This means that you have to have a government-mandated one. Now, the upside and downside to this is that in places like New Jersey, California, and the city of Chicago, what they are doing right now is that first of all, they're bringing in special driver's licenses that you can give to people who are undocumented. So they'll be able to use that. Now, the second thing they're going to be doing is they're going to be making it so that these documented, these driver licenses will be considered valid IDs for voting. So
the Democrats are doing everything they possibly can to get votes from people because they know that they're losing so many supporters, and so they're just going after the naive people.
Well, there was
just like always.
There was also an election in Ohio, a special election in Ohio for the Senate seat, I think it was. And they were saying that the Democrats had a 100% participation rate. But then you look at the people who are voting and you see people who are 150, 170, 225. Yeah, a 225 age year person. Yeah, okay. But that's the thing that they've been doing. They're using voting fraud through Social Security numbers and things like that. And then they're also giving it to, and I know this might be a touchy subject, but through illegal immigration. The reason why they're like, hey, we'll make sure you don't get deported, but you'll have to vote Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, like they're going to Rikers Island and registering voters in Rikers Island. Like,
why don't they just leave her there while they're there?
But that's also because Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, is actually giving them the right to vote now.
Island. Andrew Cuomo belongs in Rikers. He's the biggest sleazeball that ever walked.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's brainstorm on how the DNC fraud can help obstruct the midterms. So we need to start. I think you and I, Deb, need to start doing videos, asking for a call to action of saying this is what we're doing on this day. This is the information, and we'll give them, say, a Google Doc with the information to print out, because I'm all about Google Docs, and I'm not advocating for Google, but I like to put all my information, all my sources, and say, here, this is for you to have. Go research it. Don't take my word for it. So I think it would be, good if we started doing specific videos saying this is what needs to be done. This is the day that we're doing it. This is nationwide or worldwide. I've had so many different countries look at the DNC fraud page, like Germany and Morocco and Europe.
You got one from Saudi Arabia, if I remember correctly.
You what?
I think you ever got one from Saudi Arabia, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's almost every major country and. People are seeing what we're doing. They don't want us to feel like we are, but the proof is in the pudding. I can go to our Wix website and see what continents and see what people look at our page, and it's not just. There's a lot of Washington D.C. Like they're looking at our page every day. They're checking on us.
Well, that's not always a bad thing. There are good people in there.
Yeah.
We could talk about the shadow civil war that's currently going on in D.C., but that's a totally different story.
Yeah. So I think that's a good starting point for you and me, Deb. We need to just start doing specific actions every day, or as many days as we can.
Yeah, we should talk to each other a few times a week, I think, one way or another, whether it's here or whether it's on the phone, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we should do it on here and record it too, so other people can see what we're doing.
Yep. I agree.
Be totally upfront with it, because this is a nonviolent action. This is peaceful, educational, direct action, and, you know, becoming ungovernable. We want to show people what that means. Because, you know, advertising right now and stuff, even if you had millions of dollars invested in you, they have to, ad agencies and stuff, they have to push their content out so much faster in the past few decades, because we're in this generation that you hear something once and then you'll forget it, you know? So we have to be even louder. We have to push our voice out as loud as we can, because, you know, it's been over a year and a half now that I've been doing DNC fraud protests, and a lot of people still don't even know what we are, you know, or they'll think that we're part of a group to reform the DNC, and we have
exactly.
Yeah, they hear, you know, anything with DNC in the name, and they just assume that we're, you know, going to be co-opted. And so we have to show them that, you know, that's why I personally, that's a big reason why I don't legitimize any party or any election, because I want to show people that we don't have to be invested in a political party to go against corruption, you know. I want to show people that we can stand on our own and our own dignity. We don't need a party to represent us, and we don't have to have, you know, other intentions to, you know, address the fraud.
I wanted to put a quick disclaimer into this, because I was saying I was voting Republican, voting Libertarian. Little disclaimer: I am actually an unaffiliated voter. I'm not affiliated with any party whatsoever.
But that's what I like about you, Alex, and working with you, because you support, you still support voting for certain people, and that's okay. You're not our enemy, you know what I mean? The people that want to vote, they're not our enemy. There's a way that we can all work together and have different beliefs on some things and work together like we're doing now, and discussing it and showing people how to communicate, because the mainstream media, the political parties, they're extremely divisive, and
of course,
especially with the DNC, they're gaslighting, they're manipulative, and they're liars.
And they're snakes.
They're snakes. And they sell the snake oil.
Sorry.
Talking all over each other.
One thing I say, I support Deb and Sarah in your idea of obstructing the vote. I'm actually will vote as a person, because I've actually looked at every single one of these candidates' policies. I think that's the number one thing.
I agree.
If you can find policies, that's good. If you can't, then you don't vote, because then at that point you do not support any person there, because they have not represented your beliefs.
I feel like the obstruct the vote and the DNC fraud protest, the concepts around the two are one and the same. I think they and they're not working against, say, your vote, Alex. They're not working against your vote, where you're voting for your policy and your genuine belief in that one candidate or whatever. It's not working against your vote. It is working against the corruption within our government. And you know, we're not saying
big government complex.
You what?
I said the big government complex. That's what it's disrupting.
When we say obstruct the midterms, we're talking about you know, uniting people around direct action outside the government. Don't you think?
Yep, I do.
And giving power back to people. Like last November, I did a protest in Washington, and it was so empowering. I mean, there were less than 40 people there, and I worked for about a year to get that number. You know, I promoted every day. I worked my ass off. I got out, you know, and showed people what we were going to do. We ordered T-shirts, you know, and I had to learn, you know, I actually got a permit for that protest, because it was my first protest. And I'll tell you, I'll never again pay the government a dime to.
You shouldn't have to in the first place. I mean, it's called tax dollars for a reason. You're paying the government in order to do it in the first place. So what's the point of being double charged?
Well, my point was why I originally got it was because I didn't want people to think that I was trying to cause any violence or let anybody get hurt because of not getting a permit. But now that I see and I experienced it, and I saw that the permit wouldn't have made a difference, because what we're doing there was not violent. It was peaceful, and it was unity, and it was with respectable people that just wanted to have their voice heard.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, all you need to do there is actually just quote the First Amendment, the ability to freely, to peacefully assemble. You're peacefully assembling, that's it. And
Well,
you're using
getting a permit kind of legitimizes that system where it says that you have to get a permit.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
but that's a good message though to share out to other people and let them learn from what my experience, that you don't need it if you're planning it with effort and you know, consideration of everything that could go wrong, because things could go wrong. You never know.
Yep.
But with a lot of planning, that you don't have to worry about that. You know, and looking back, I was so scared hosting my own protest. I thought, how could I possibly do this? You know, so I want to.
Well, it's scary when you first start doing it. It absolutely is. There's no question.
It's still terrifying. Like especially when you're doing it alone.
Right.
It's. But you know, that's why I do it though. Even if I'm, you know, protesting for Julian or whatever on the curb, all you need is a sign, a marker, and your body, and go find a curb, you know, or go find the bank of a highway, you know, out of the road. You're allowed to be on sidewalks. You're not allowed to be on public property and protest. They'll normally kick you off. But curbs, with areas of high traffic. Walking traffic is good. And then I'll have a flyer that I'll hand out, either a large sheet or I'll cut them out, you know, and do like several on one. And
me too. Yep.
But I think we need to have a united message between you and me, Deb, and anybody in this group or anybody watching. You can contact me or Deb. How should we get them to contact us, Deb?
What about email? That way they can write their ideas down.
Okay. So
mine is become.ungovernable@gmail.com.
Okay. I'll put it in the when I upload this video, I'll put it in the bottom so they can, and I'll put mine as well for the DNC fraud.
Now, if there's anything that they're nervous about sending through Gmail, they can use Zoho. ZOHO. I'm on Zoho.com as well.
Zoho.com. Alex turned me on to Proton Mail.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I love Proton Mail.
I haven't used it yet.
Me too. Okay, I think we have a good start. You know, for where we need to go. We need to start making specific videos saying this is the action, this is the day, this is the information, this is what we got to do, and we need to do that repeatedly until we get down. You know exactly. We'll see where it goes. You know.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
you know, start somewhere, and every little bit does help.
Yes, yeah, I agree totally.
I've mentioned this. I will be starting to do some videos where I analyze some WikiLeaks documents, and I think I will do 1 or 2 a week once my computer gets fixed. And I will announce, you know, when, and a lot of this stuff will debunk how important the elections are, because it goes into different back deals between politicians.
I mean, there's just so much to cover.
Yeah.
On my page, on the memenews.co page, I have a section for Deb and a section for Alex. When you popping out the videos, just send them to me on Discord, and I'll put a section just for you.
Okay.
What you're doing, David.
All right, sounds good.
I will. I just don't want to put them out yet with a bad video quality. You know, I want to get it a little better where it's not lagging so much. I mean, I don't care that much.
Right.
You know,
and what I want to do,
make it all glossy and all that nonsense, but as long as the information gets out,
right,
that's all I care about.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was a really good chat.
One thing before we go, which is Where can they find the information about the protest that's happening on October 20th? I know there's on Facebook, but is it anywhere else?
Okay, there's the issue with there's a Facebook event page, but as you know, when Facebook deleted my last original account, that event page was created by that last account. So the bad thing about this event page is that we can post on it, but we can't change the graphics or anything.
I can.
Convenient.
I was actually one of the co-creators.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so well then my issue with that was I wanted to talk to you real quick. I drove to Spokane the other day, and that was physically hard for me to drive there and back. So we might actually have to do the protest in Pullman, which would be less of, it would be 4 hours less of a drive that day for us. So I thought if we do something in Pullman, then maybe we could do a day of canvassing, like going door to door, rather than doing our normal type of protest. But we'll see, because when it gets a little bit closer, that's when we'll find out what DNC events they're having in the area, because they normally don't post them more than a month in advance.
So the event is on Facebook, but is it also on the meme news page or anywhere else?
Yeah, it's on the memenews.co page. It's on the DNC fraud page.
Okay.
I'll put the links below when I upload this video.
Awesome. I just,
and
people don't want to use
I try and promote it on Instagram and Twitter, as much as I can. But see, that's the thing. It's so hard to get the message out there. You can share it on a social media once every day, and still people don't see it.
Right.
Right. But there's nothing you can do. Is just continue to
Is it going to be? Are we going to be putting this on? Will I get to put it on my page?
Yeah, put it on. Okay, so I'll upload it and then I'll maybe email it to you if that would be good. Or just
that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a matter of getting it all to. We all have our individual groups, and when we, we're just going to share, and eventually it'll grow.
It'll grow. Yep.
It'll grow.
I want it to be eventually where people can go to my page and see your content and your content and your content and your content.
I want to upload this to my YouTube.
That makes sense. Yeah.
We need to show people that we have a united front and we're not gonna, go down quietly.
Right. Definitely not gonna go down quietly.
I'm a postal worker. I don't really do anything quiet. So, all right.
We need to show people that we're willing to put in the work and we're willing to give them an opportunity to join us, because I think that's just what the issue is right now. They need they need a better option. So many people tell me, "Oh, well, who do you support?" And I'm like, I support myself. I support
really.
I support direct action.
Right.
And my videos, my posts, they prove it. So that's what we're doing is, proving ourselves and proving and working towards a goal we can,
And you know what? Interviews are a nice idea, but I'm not going to do. After interviewing a few candidates, I kind of felt dirty after the last one. I was like, I had to take a shower.
Take a shower. I know he was going to say that.
God. I was like, oh Lord. Let's do another one. As soon as let's do another one. I'm like, oh God.
Y'all got to join us for me and Sarah Stevens. We're going to do, I hope maybe tonight, a video on symbolism and pedogate and Hollywood and the cult and Illuminati.
I got a ton of stuff for that if you want it.
Yeah, join us. Send me what you have, and I'll look over it.
I was looking for some resources on Pizzagate, and the very first thing that came up was the Wikipedia page. It's been debunked.
So here's the deal. Whatever you guys, I'll try to join tonight.
Bam.
Cool.
But if I can't, whatever you guys do with that, whatever you can give me to put on the Become Ungovernable Truth website, because I'm actually working on that right now.
Well, anything that I make, whether it's on the Voices of Dissent or my other YouTube, anything that I create, you can have.
Okay. All right.
Like just
and any videos that I do, I'll share to you. That's no problem at all.
Okay.
All
right.
For you, of course.
All right.
Bye, guys. You have a good one, all right?
All right.
Bye, guys. Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.